Well, greetings, Cap fans. Welcome to episode 241 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. I'm Rick Frabanis. I'm your host, and I've got a co host. He's the best one out there. His name, Bob Lucius. Oh, Bob, impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing.
Well, two things there, Rick. First one is I have no idea who said that, but I like it. And the second thing is it made me really, really hungry because my favorite hamburger substitute is the Impossible Burger, which you
Yeah?
can get as the Impossible bleep at a very famous fast food restaurant.
I've had those, and they're
Yeah,
actually really good. In
yeah.
fact, I have been eating them for the last 3 years.
Wow. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, and I'm a little bit peckish.
Are you
Thank you.
now?
Yeah.
Mm. So you don't know who said that quote. I'm just going to tell you.
All right.
It's a famous athlete, uh, David Beckham.
Bend it. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, but
I
bend it
know
like
people
Beckham.
like to bend it like Beckham.
Oh
So
yeah, apparently.
yeah,
Yeah. So, well, you know who David Beckham is,
sure,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
tell our listeners that because they have no idea.
He's a professional football player. Oh,
Football.
yeah,
Yes.
European football, right?
European. Yeah, yeah. And uh, the reason, and not only is it a great quote, I love the quote. But the reason I chose to quote him today, little known fact about David Beckham. Did you know that he has asthma?
I did not know that.
Indeed,
I did not.
he is. He said he's had it since he was for years,
Mm,
right? Since he was young, and it hasn't stopped him from becoming a world famous athlete.
wow, that's impressive.
It is.
That is impressive.
It is impressive.
And landing posh spice, might I add? So,
Yeah, the reason we're talking about asthma is it is May. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, it's May 21st, and May is Asthma Awareness Month, which is a great opportunity to educate people, your family, your friends, if you're a
mm,
doctor, your patients, about asthma, and really just kind of promote awareness about how this serious and sometimes fatal
mhm.
chronic respiratory disease can be controlled. And so we thought it would be important to kind of bring that into today's topic. And that is why we are covering Captain America meets the Asthma Monster.
I love that. It's I love how it's like meats, right? It's not like the asthma monster attacks Captain America. It seems very, meats.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah. If you were just reading the title and not seeing the cover, you've been like,
yeah,
oh, I guess they're gonna go meet at
yeah.
the library, you know,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
get a
No.
cup of coffee,
Yeah. Just get to know each other better.
yeah. Of course, I did say Asthma Munster
Yes, you did.
because that is my way.
Yep. Old habits die hard.
Yeah.
But no, it's awesome that we're doing this, Rick, because gosh, you think about how we take breathing for granted, right? I mean, being able to breathe, take a full
Hmm.
breath, to run around, to do things. And yeah, there's folks. I know I grew up with folks. I went to school with folks who had asthma, and the treatments are much better now.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously than they were
Hmm.
40 years ago, and even further back. So we've made great strides, but it's still it can be very debilitating for folks, and so it's important to spread awareness about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And if people want to get, more information about it, go to the American Lung Association. They have their website is lung.org, and then you can learn more about asthma and how to treat asthma, but also just kind of how to appreciate people who do have it, because there are millions of people who suffer with it. But it is not something necessarily that you can't overcome. So we talk about David Beckham, but there are some really famous people who have had asthma. Some presidents like Theodore
Oh,
Roosevelt
that's right.
and
Yes.
JFK. They both had asthma, and then people, singer Harry Styles. You would
Was
think
not aware.
a singer, who uses their lungs, right?
Right.
They kind of use their diaphragm to project and so on, and how difficult that can be. So it's not the I guess um, stigma that went around with it. When we were kids,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You know there's little Bobby, right, with his
Right.
little inhaler.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, you know, that was kind of like the geek thing that people kind of made fun of, like in Goonies, right? Like there was like the
Right.
little geek
Yeah.
guy with his, inhaler and
Yeah. Right.
the stereotype.
Wheezing and
Yeah.
yeah, nerdy and that whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that comic today. Um, in, in the meantime, though, I do want to give a shout out. I don't think I mentioned this person before, but we really do appreciate the patrons that help support the show. We have 29 members who are on a monthly basis, donating to the show. And because of these 29 people, we are able to pay our bills and do some contests and fun things like that. And the latest one we have is Kev Spillane. And Kev joined as a shield slinger, and he gave a little comment there. Love the channel because I think he watches us on YouTube and the Facebook group. So thank you, Kev. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you joining in on the Facebook group, and we appreciate you being a patron.
Nice. That is cool. He's a double dipper, right? He listens to the podcast and enjoys the Facebook group. I like that.
Yeah. And, if anyone wants to get more information about how to become a member and support the show and get some really cool perks, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/cap comic fans. And the URL is up on the screen. And some of the cool perks, Bob, are you get to be, in some cases, guests on the show. We've had recently a couple of guests join us for the Captain America Fantasy Draft. And we also had the live movie review for Thunderbolts. Um, and also, you get to find out who our guests are going to be on the show before anyone else and ask a question. And we do have, in 2 episodes from now, a couple of guests joining the show that I think you would be really interested to come back. So make sure you come back on episode 243 to check that out.
And you have the sense of satisfaction knowing you are helping keep one of the most entertaining podcasts on the air. So you can't put a price on that, Rick.
I know. It's like the price of a comic,
Right.
right? You get
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 episodes a month for the price of a comic.
Yeah.
Can't go
Yeah.
wrong.
Can't go wrong.
I'm trying to think. It is May 21st, and next Monday is Memorial Day. It's hard to believe. I mean, that's kind of like the unofficial kickoff of summer, right?
I think it is, right? It's when you can start wearing white pants or something, I think.
With white shoes
With white shoes,
and a
right?
white
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, my dad had shiny white shoes
Yeah.
that they're like loafers,
Yeah.
but they're like, plastic white and
Right. I think my
shiny like,
dad had a pair of those as well.
oh man, and he had the white belt, and he would break that out in the summertime and walk around.
Nice.
Ah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Memories.
Do you have any clothes that maybe your son Bobby he kind of groans, or gets he's like, oh dad, don't wear
No,
that.
I don't, but I do have a shirt. I bought it. I bought it. No kidding. In 2000 and oh my gosh, like 2002. And
Mm-hmm.
it's from Guess, the jeans company. And I remember I
Right.
got it at the Guess outlet, and it's sort of a Hawaiian print shirt, and I still have it, and I break it out every now and again. My wife absolutely loathes that shirt, hates that shirt, and
Uh-huh.
and she does audibly groan when I pull it out and I put it, but it's so comfortable,
Uh-huh.
and I like to think it's sort of festive looking.
Yeah.
It's sort of a black and blue sort of Hawaiian print,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
just the right weight, not too light, not too heavy, sort
Mm-hmm.
of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why she doesn't appreciate it, but that's definitely one of those clothing items that I wouldn't be surprised went missing.
Yeah. I have a similar shirt, Hawaiian shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm going to say two. And I one of them I've had since probably 2000,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? For 25 years.
Yeah.
And and it's it's a very subtle Hawaiian. It's not like these big flowery prints. It's more of like smaller,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, I I I I don't wear it very often. I used to wear the heck out of it
Yeah.
in the first 5 years I had or whatever. Um, but the coolest thing is, my son, who who is an adult now, or he graduated college.
Mm-hmm.
Um, every once in a while, he'll be like, "Dad, can I borrow that shirt?" And he'll wear that shirt.
Nice.
And then when I was in college and I was waiting tables, I had one of the uniforms was we had to wear white pants and this blue floral Hawaiian shirt.
Wow.
It was at the
Yeah.
beach. It
Okay.
was at a restaurant at the beach.
All right.
And anyway, it the floral patterns hid stains very well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if you're waiting tables, you inevitably will get a food stain on your shirt or whatever. Um, and my daughter, my teenage daughter, would be like, "Dad, can I borrow that Hawaiian shirt?" And like, I actually have a picture of one wearing this shirt and one wearing the
Uh-huh.
other shirt
Oh, that's sweet.
together.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. I do have a bin of vintage T-shirts that I've set aside for my boy. So when he's big enough, he can wear that size. I'll haul it out for him. Maybe when he goes
Um,
off to college.
will he be allowed to take them out of the package?
Yeah, these are pre-worn, so I did wear these. One of them he's really looking forward to getting, and it's one of those ones that says Wisconsin, come smell our derriere. So I got that one set aside. But he's super excited about that one.
Why can't he have it now?
Well, because it's a large. He won't wear it because he's 15. He doesn't wear that. He's still at a medium, so he's a
Hmm.
little bit.
He's
These
still
are
my size.
these are yeah. These are. I care about these, Rick. I've saved these. I don't want I want him to appreciate them when he
Ah,
gets them.
that's
So
very cool.
yeah,
Well, I'm wearing one of the T-shirts you gave me for Christmas,
that's a beautiful shirt.
right?
Look at that.
And yeah, and I'm wearing it because Cap gets to ride this motorcycle. He rides this particular
Yeah,
motorcycle in the issue Recovering Tonight. Shall we get to that, Bob?
let's do that. Yeah.
So this comic, maybe not all of our listeners have in their collection. It was not a published comic from by Marvel that you would buy on the newsstand. No, this was a free giveaway, and it is at the very top of this. It says compliments of your physician and Glaxo Inc. And I can only assume that Glaxo was a maker of a inhaler.
Yeah.
right? Um,
Longstanding British pharmaceutical.
oh, look at you looking things up
Oh
before the
yeah, you
show.
know I did, buddy. Yeah.
And so anyway, this came out in 1987. Had a cover date of December 1987, so it probably came out in the fall of '87. It was a comic that was a freebie, not a full size comic, so not 22 pages, but it is 18 pages, so it's almost there.
Hmm.
And it was a comic that was given out to doctors' waiting rooms, right? So that when kids came into the waiting room, or guys like us, they would take the comic and they'd read it and they'd learn more about asthma. And it's very informative. It has some scientific terms in here. Bob probably had to look up a few,
Oh, of course, yeah.
and but it's a fun story. Do you want to take the listeners through the cover?
Yeah, it's an action packed cover, Rick, as you know, and we see Cap battling what looks to be sort of a dark green toxic Avenger looking character, and
He looks like Swamp Thing.
it has a swampy thing look. He's got that
Yeah,
same color, and he's up above Cap, sort of floating in the air, or maybe he's in mid leap. But he's got a silver canister strapped to his back, and he's got a gun of some sort in his right hand that's connected to that canister by a tube, and it seems to be emitting some sort of purplish cloud, and it's beginning to envelop Cap. And we see on the ground there's a man, and he's clutching at his throat. He's surrounded by that same kind of purple cloud. And all this is going on with some children around them, and it looks like they're perhaps maybe in a doctor's office or a nurse's office, because there looks to be like a medicine cabinet in the background, maybe an examination table. So there's some sort of
and
battle
a
going on here.
certificate framed on the wall.
Yeah, so that's a giveaway. It's either a college professor or a doctor's office. So this is going on, and we see this battle taking place with some kids and an injured person on the floor, and it says Captain America meets the asthma monster. And one of the cool things about this cover is that the boy in the foreground, who is looking at this battle with a look of awe on his face, he's holding one of those inhalers in his left hand. So right on the cover, we're getting that message that, okay, all right, this is about asthma.
Yep, and the art is done by Alex Saviuk, and it actually there's initials on the cover. It has AS/AM. I'm assuming that the other one is inked by Al Milgrom, because that would have been around the time that Al was doing this. Also at the top, it has Marvel Comics Group, that little strip that goes across, and then there is the logo, corner box logo kind of thing of just Cap's head. And do you recognize that, Bob?
I don't.
It looks to me like the one done by John Byrne in the corner of the Avengers. So,
Mm,
so when the Avengers had like it would have like it's just the faces of the
right. Yeah.
Avengers. Yeah,
Yeah.
John Byrne did a whole bunch of those during the '80s, and it looks like this
Mm,
one just bigger.
interesting.
Yep. Um, and so let's get to the creators of this particular issue. So the writer is Louise Simonson, no, very much known as Wheezy. She is the wife of Walt Simonson. Lovely lady. I've had a chance to meet her a couple of times at
Oh
different
wow.
shows. She's a very much established comic writer from the 70s, 80s. She wrote over 400 issues
Hmm.
during that time. And so the funny thing is when I go to look at her bibliography, this comic does not show up on it.
Really?
This doesn't. Same thing for the penciler, Alex Saviuk. It doesn't show up on his bibliography. So I don't know if because these are, like these giveaways,
Right.
like
Yeah.
they
They
don't
don't count.
show up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, Now, interesting though, Alex Saviuk is he's a member of the Captain America comic book fans Facebook group.
You're kidding me. I did not know that.
Yeah, he joined shortly after the group started. Well, maybe like in the first year. So he's been a member of the group. I think he just kind of lurks.
Right.
He's liked a few things, but he doesn't post
Yeah.
anything. But that's cool. He's in the
That
group.
is cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Um, and this was inked by Fred Fredericks. And I'm just curious, why did his parents do that?
That makes it easier to remember your name.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's his nickname. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Richard.
I knew a kid when I was growing up. This is the family, the Mitchells, and the oldest son went by Mitch.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
I'm at the time I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Mitch Mitchell. At the time, I thought that was his name. Looking back now, I'm like, that was probably a nickname, and I didn't know his real name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
My son just the other day was like, what's dad's middle name? And my
like
wife's
your
like,
name.
yeah.
Uh
And my wife's like, it's the same as yours.
huh.
You're the third. He has the same, you guys have the same name, and same with his father. So he was very
And he's
confused.
like, "What's my middle name?"
What's my middle name again? Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah,
He doesn't use, he goes by Bobby. So he
right.
confuses him. People call him Robert.
Does anybody ever call you Junior?
Nobody's ever called me Junior. Yeah. That just
Even when you were little?
even when I was little. Yeah. Yeah. My dad went by Bob, and I went by, when I was very young, I went by Robbie. That's what my family called me. In
Oh
fact,
yeah.
my sisters still call me that. And then when I was older, and like in junior high, I went to Rob.
Mm-hmm.
But my sisters were like super big fans of Robbie Benson, so that was part of that switch reason. Is like hated that guy,
Okay.
and yeah, and so I went to Robbie, and then when I went off, to high school and then college, I became Bob, like my dad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a similar path. I was a Richard,
Okay.
and I went by Rich for many years.
Oh. Hmm.
And then on the first day of high school, I met some kids, and they're like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Rick." And I have been Rick ever since.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was just on the spur of the moment, right? Or has it had something
No,
that you've
it
been
was
ruminating on
I
for?
I dude, it was so long ago. It was first day of high school. I
Yeah.
don't recall.
You
I want to
panicked.
say it was more of like a spur of the moment type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like and here's the thing. Um
Could be worse. Could have been Dick.
yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah.
No one's ever called me that uh, nicely.
Yeah.
Uh um but the thing is like my mom still called me Richard.
Yeah.
Still does. Um and and then her and maybe some aunts and uncles, will do it,
Yeah.
and
They'll call
then
you Richard. That seems
yeah,
very formal. Like,
yeah,
my
I
mom would
know,
never call me
right?
Robert unless I was in trouble.
Yeah,
Right.
well, yeah, exactly, or my ex-wife when she wants to piss me off.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I do. I feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I was like,
Sure.
what?
Yeah.
Who?
Who? Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm Rick.
All
Anyway, so
right.
getting back to the creators of this one, the colorist was Paul Beckton, letterer Rick Parker, and editor Howard Mackey. And the title of this one, Bob, is
Attack of the Asthma Monster.
I would have been a little bit more impressed if you put a little bit more like Attack of the Asthma Monster.
See, I wanted to play this serious, Rick. This is a serious disease.
Okay, all right, fine. All right, so we got through the cover. It does have the Captain America logo, like trade dress of that time period in the 80s. So we open it up, and on the inside cover, normally we'd see an ad here, but there is not an ad. Instead, it's the origin of Captain America. And Bob, this was taken out of,
I'm not sure where this was taken out of, Rick. I don't know. Was this Tales of Suspense? I don't
I don't
know.
know. It looks like Jack Kirby art.
It's the test tube serum.
Yeah.
So it had to have been either, yeah, it was definitely a 60s version here.
I thought you would have known this, Bob, because um, back in episode 48,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, you did the top 12 origin differences.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could have sworn you did this.
I did, but my memory is not so good, Rick. So
Okay.
that's just the reality of it. So I'd have to look at my notes. But because we only see the test tube here and not even the Vita rays, and we certainly don't see the injection, it's certainly one of the earlier origin stories, I would think. So
Yeah. And I wonder if this was, I mean, it's a one pager.
yeah,
So I'm wondering if this was like I don't know, maybe it was used in Tales of Suspense. I can't recall either. But essentially, and I'll just read the captions, not the dialogue or anything. But Steve Rogers, too puny, too sickly to be accepted by the Army. Steve Rogers, chosen from hundreds of similar volunteers because of his courage, his intelligence, and his willingness to risk death for his country if the experiment should fail. And then he goes through, takes the serum, and his body transforms. And he's there with Dr. Erskine. The crisis is past, and the land of the free has a new champion, a new defender, born in an hour of need, destined to be a living symbol of the glory that is America. Despite every precaution, the dread specter of Nazism appears at that triumphant instant in the form of a desperate, murderous Gestapo spy. And this was I when I was reading this, I was like, well, this is a way to avoid showing Dr. Erskine getting murdered. Like they don't show it.
right.
They just said
Yeah.
a desperate murderous Gestapo spy. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
say he committed murder. He said it was murderous.
Right.
Like,
That's a good
right?
point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because they were writing this for kids,
Mm-hmm.
they left that out. Then, in the days that follow, Steve Rogers is given a dramatic new identity by the High Command, garbed in a memorable costume, armed with a mighty shield, spurred on by an unquenchable love of liberty. Captain America blazes into action with the dazzling speed of power of a red, white, and blue rocket.
That is
And
a very long but inspiring sentence.
mm-hmm, I'm out of it. All right, so the opening page here is a classroom setting. And if I had to guess, I would say these kids look to be about third or fourth grade.
Interesting. I would have thought a little older. I was thinking like middle school.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sixth grade.
Yeah. Maybe like fifth grade, fifth, sixth grade. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was off by a year.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. How old? Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't know, man. So long ago. So
It's so
very
long ago for our
long. So
kids.
very long.
So there's a lady, a teacher, up on the chalkboard. She's writing something on the chalkboard, and she has her back to the kids. So of course the kids are going to act up when the teacher's back to them, right? And there's a kid in the front row, and he's turning around talking to his friend, and he holds up a little like a flyer that has Captain America live. Hey, look, Captain America's going to make a benefit appearance at the Simon's Mall. Simon's Mall, Bob. Where do you think you got that name from?
That's a nice touch. That's a nice call out to Joe Simon.
And the boy sitting behind him grabs it. Oh, wow. This is awesome. I can't believe. And the kid behind him was like, "What's with you, John? You sound like a breached trout." Hey, John, are you okay? And then a kid over to the side. Um, it's a very undiverse class.
Yeah, you're right. Well, there's one kid with red hair.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, and the kid with the glasses is like, "Sure, he's okay. Otherwise, he couldn't go see Captain America, could you, John? They don't like sicko nerds in the seat to see him, dude. Sickos couldn't stand the excitement." "Shut up, Ralph. John's got asthma, but you're the sicko." And then the teacher turns around. "Mrs. Murray, John can't breathe again." "Thank you, Mike. Go see Miss Grady in the infirmary, John. Take your medicine and ask her to let you lie down and rest till this attack is past." So he gets up, kind of coughing, and then he goes into the nurse's office. "Miss Miss Brady, come in. Asthma bothering you again?" "Yeah, I'm having trouble breathing." "Here's some water. John, take your medicine and go lie down on the cot for a while, okay? The quiet will calm you and give the medicine a chance to do its job."
I wish I had that at work.
Yeah,
Like a room where you could go and say, "Can I just lie down on the cot for a while?"
that'd be nice,
Wouldn't
right?
that be good?
Yeah. An understanding nurse. You just like her outfit.
I do. I do. I have to admit, I do like the traditional nurse outfit.
Darn. Seems like I spend my life in here. And he still has the Captain America live flyer. He's laying on the cot. "I wanted to be like Cap, to fight evil, to do lots of good stuff. But then I got asthma. I might as well forget being a hero now. I'll just lie around for the rest of my life doing nothing. Heck, my mom and dad barely let me cross the street by myself anymore. They're so worried. I guess I'm worried too." "John, what?" "I brought you a companion in misery. I figured you wouldn't mind." "Hi. Who comes through the door with the nurse, Bob?"
Well, it's a young lady with long blonde hair and some freckles in what looks to be a late 1970s, early 1980s knit miniskirt dress.
Yeah. And how old would you say do you think this girl is?
I think, early middle school.
I didn't ask what grade she's in, Bob. How old do you think this girl
Oh, I
is?
have no idea what age that is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
kidding
I
me?
don't know. I mean, she looks like he's 8 or 9 to me.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is we have programs where I work for second and third graders, and they look a lot younger than these kids look. And so I'm thinking they're not quite high school. What's in between? Middle school. I don't know.
I mean, look how small she is in that chair.
No? Okay, well that's fair.
All I know, when this comic came out,
Right.
David Beckham was like 12.
Was he really?
Yeah. So David Beckham may have gotten this comic while he was sitting in a
Holy
in
cow.
a in a
Yeah.
like a
Right.
doctor's office.
Well, as I said, Rick, Glaxo was a British-based multinational pharmaceutical and biotechnology company.
Yeah. So who better to get than Captain America?
I guess Captain Britain wasn't available.
Hmm.
So,
Or he didn't care.
yeah. He also wasn't weak and sickly.
Hmm.
So,
Um, Hi, you're Ruth, aren't you, from the other class? Now, Bob, do you remember being a kid in like middle school and being like, you, I don't know how big your classrooms were, right?
yeah.
But like may have had like 20, 25 kids. And then
Yeah.
there was the other class
Yeah.
of 20, 25 kids, and it was
Yeah.
like, we didn't talk to them. We didn't do anything with them. Like we maybe, we had different recesses. Like,
Yeah,
was that like
right.
it for you? Like you just
Well,
like the other class was kind of like,
yeah, I
you
think
know,
there were two other classes, so we were obviously in a much bigger school. But
mm,
but yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah. It's funny you mention that because I was actually maybe like day before yesterday going, my memories on Facebook were a couple class photos from like, I think it was like fifth and maybe seventh grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe my hair looked like that.
Oh,
sort of thing. But yeah, right. I'm like, who else was there in that school besides that class?
mm-hmm.
Nobody, right? It was just us in our isolated little world in homeroom. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You just, yeah. Wow. World was so much bigger back then.
and I look, by the way, I looked at that picture from seventh grade and I was like, man, I miss that shirt. Such a, like a nice knit shirt, love that shirt.
uh, I look at those pictures and go, man, I miss that hair. Yeah. What's wrong with you anyway? How come you're here? What? Me? Nothing's wrong. Ha! You got the same thing as me. I had asthma long enough to tell when somebody else is having an attack. But you can have asthma. You're the captain of the swim team. And you can't do anything when you got asthma. Boy, you don't know much about it, do you? Feeling better? Yeah, the medicine really helps. Only I hate taking it in front of the other kids. I hate being different. I used to feel that way too. Only my parents helped me learn about asthma. They even sent me to an asthma camp to learn lots of ways to help myself. Look, do you even know what triggers your attacks? There's things all around you that might do it. Fur or dust or even weather. They're called allergens. Even excitement can bring on an attack. They make the lining of your bronchial tubes, that's the airways you breathe with, well, swell up. My stomach always feels funny before I get an attack. Sometimes it warns me, and I can prevent an attack by changing what I'm doing. Yeah, I cough and I get a tickly throat. I got it now. And then there's a yell, Bob. And the kids go into the other room where the nurse was, and what do they see?
Oh my God. It's that guy from the cover with the shiny chrome canister on his back, and he's spraying the nurse with that cloud of purple smoke.
Yeah, and she's like, on the floor, grasping her throat, trying to breathe.
And he's laughing.
Okay, you now have officially have to do the laugh every time he laughs. Miss Grady, if I can't breathe, then no one can breathe. Aha! Children, sickly little children skulking in the infirmary. Soon to be sicker still, the asthma monster has spoken. It and he sprays them with that purple cloud. It doesn't work. My allergun doesn't work on you. Allergun? That sounds like allergen. That stuff that gives us asthma attacks. And our medicine fights against. So, you little beasts have learned of the antidote, but I know where to get it, and I will destroy it just as surely as I'll destroy everyone. He disappeared. He did. He pops out. Yeah, and it sounds like his gun shoots a special kind of allergen, a special one that even gave Miss Grady asthma. Should we give her some of our medicine? No, it sounds like asthma, but it might be something else. And taking other people's medicine can be dangerous.
That's good advice right there.
Really is. We better just go for help. Ruth, do you hear that? Look, John, there's allergun smoke all over. They can't breathe either. And you see classroom just filled up with that purple smoke and they're coughing. Holy cow, look. Couldn't resist. Zapped every classroom. So long, suckers. He disappeared again. What'll we do? Even if it is asthma, we can't give our medicine to everybody in the school. We don't have enough. Hey, I got an idea. Let's call Captain America. That's great, only the asthma monster is just stealing breath. He's not messing with national security or anything. Not yet, anyway. Look, Cap's going to be in the neighborhood, and he has experience with supervillains. Yeah, you're right. It won't hurt to call him. So they go to a payphone. There's an 800 hotline number printed on the ad. Swell. A computer answered. We reached this darn answering machine. So leave a message. What else can you do? Yeah, this is John Wilson and Ruth Johnson calling. An asthma monster is attacking George Washington School in Midville. Please, come help us. Thanks. Bye. Well, that's that. I hope he calls in soon or it'll be too late. What now? Go outside and try to find a police officer? And he goes outside, and what does he see?
There's people on the sidewalk in front of the school, and they're all clutching their throat, and presumably in the throes of whatever the asthma monster has sprayed them with his allergun.
Oh no, the asthma monster got them too. Ruth, that van. I've seen a picture of it. It's Captain America. And Bob, you've seen that van, haven't you?
I sure have, Rick. Yeah. So as you know, we had when was Mr. Brown, Elliot R. Brown, on the show, where he talked us through his design for several of Cap's vehicles, and also some of Cap's equipment.
We did. That was a fun interview. That was Elliot Brown came on episode 195. That may have been one of my favorite interviews we've ever done.
Just an amazing guy with a lot of fantastic stories. If you haven't listened to that episode, you definitely have to check it out.
I believe you own the art to this van, don't you?
I do. Yes, I do. Thank you, Rick. Yeah. Elliot was kind enough to look through some of his collection and share some, and kind enough to thank you for you passed the van on to me, and you got the motorcycle.
I got the motorcycle, but you got the motorcycle within the van.
That's true. That is
you,
true.
You got like a 2-for-1.
It's a twofer. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cap gets out of the van because it's always great when a van speeds up to a schoolyard.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just cutting off traffic, peeling to a stop out in front of the school. Yeah.
Yeah. And you must be John and Ruth. My computer relayed your message promptly. Good thing, judging by what I see here. Turn the page, and he's attending to one of the fallen kids. These people's vital signs are good, even though they're having difficulty breathing. That's good. People can die from asthma. Asthma? How can all these people have it? And how did you two avoid getting it like everyone else? Well, we already have asthma, and we began to have trouble breathing before everybody else did. So we took our asthma medicine. It helped. That was when the asthma monster attacked everybody else. That's odd. Not everyone is normally susceptible to asthma. Maybe the asthma monster invented something that would make them susceptible. I mean, he is a supervillain. Come with me. I'll call the National Guard, and then we'll be ready. So the kids get into the stranger's van.
Right. Yeah.
And they're sitting in the front seat, and Cap's behind the wheel. This is Captain America calling. I have to pause here. I have
That's
to pause.
The pause. Yeah.
Captain America calling. Do you know that song?
I don't.
It's by the Kinks.
Is it?
Yeah. This is Captain America calling. Yeah. Yeah. You know, so it brings me back to I was in college and I was on National Student Exchange at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide.
Okay.
And I was taking a TV production class and we had to do a project. We had to do like some sort of like a biography.
Yeah.
And we were teamed up with different people in the class, and it was me and this other guy. And I was like, yeah, we should do it about comic books. And he was like, okay. And so I wrote it. I narrated it.
Yeah.
I was the host. He was the videographer and he kind of edited it.
Yeah.
And anyway, there's me walking through and with the green screen and all the like the comic books behind me. It's like I was actually like walking through comics
You're
as
right.
I was explaining like
Yeah.
the history of comics. And I don't know, it couldn't have been more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, and I had the worst acne ever. Um, but
Yeah.
anyway, I do remember one of the songs that we picked as far as the soundtrack was the Kinks' "Captain America Calling."
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. Rick, I don't know if you knew this, but I ran the television studio in our high school.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
I did. That's when we first got cable TV
Mm-hmm.
in the town I lived in, and part of the deal was that they had to build a television studio for local community programming in the high school basement. And I was the first year I took television production. The first
Mm-hmm.
year they offered it, and so I was the guy that used to be able to drive the van with all the TV equipment around to all the big of sporting events and cover those events and the city
Wow,
council
that's
meetings.
cool.
But we used to like go in there after hours and like make music videos. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was super fun.
Oh man,
Super fun.
do you have any of the tapes?
I wish I did. I wish I did because one of the guy that introduced me to comics, a good friend by the name of Chris Porter, back in high school. He was also on the TV production, and he would come down. He was big into Phil Collins, so we did a lot of music videos with him lip syncing Phil Collins and me doing the effects from the control room. It was
Do
a
do
lot,
do
it
do do
was a
do
lot
do
of
do
fun,
do
you
do.
know. So I
Yeah.
wish I still had those.
Oh man. Well, that brings me back. I was in TV production class in high school, and I took 2 years because all you could do is take 2 years and then
Mm-hmm.
you're done. And we had a homeroom show that was like 3 days a week. There was a homeroom show, and we all took turns doing different things. But eventually, I think in my second year, because I was an upperclassman,
Mm-hmm.
I got to be a host on the homeroom show, and I was the guy who was like the Siskel and Ebert. I would like come in and do like movie reviews, or when we did plays and musicals,
Yeah, yeah.
high school. I did reviews and things like that. But I also did a lot of skits, and I was a big fan of Monty Python back then. So there was a lot of Monty Python influenced skits that I
Yeah.
wrote and directed and did, and had a lot of fun with that. Yeah,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I do have the VHS tape
Oh yeah.
of the highlights somewhere, and I think maybe 10 years ago I showed my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Someday. I look forward to seeing those.
So Cap goes on to talk to the National Guard. This is Captain America calling. Some of the citizens of Midville have succumbed to the attack of a villain calling himself the Asthma Monster. The linings of the citizens' bronchial tubes appear to have swollen as a direct result of exposure to a synthetic universal allergen. Yeah, and he got his allergun spraying into the air. I believe he invented a substance that will cause asthma symptoms in anyone who's exposed to it. Yes, I think that asthma remedies should do the trick. But of course, you should bring doctors, as I may be wrong. I'll apprehend the culprit who attacked them. No, I'm not alone. I have a couple of witnesses here who are eager to help me. And he looks at the two kids. But I can't run for long. Every time I do, I get an attack. Don't worry. You won't have to. And he turns and looks at
Oh
the
my
motors
gosh.
the motorcycle in the back of the van.
There it is.
Yeah, it was this one right here, this motorcycle.
Beautiful.
Next page. Cap's on the motorcycle with his classic motorcycle helmet. And then the two kids are on the back of the motorcycle, holding on for dear life with tiny little helmets. How the heck did Cap have tiny little helmets for kids
That's
in the
okay.
back of his van?
In his van. That's creepy as well as is well, that's planning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do call him, the big Boy Scout for nothing.
that's right.
and they're going very fast. You know, you can tell they're going very fast.
Is it because everything's blurry?
Speed lines, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and uh, and he's he's polluting the world right now with his little asthma allergens. You see the amount of exhaust that's coming out of these things?
That thing needs a tune-up for sure.
It is a lot of exhaust. The asthma monster is around somewhere, but where? I think I know. He noticed our medicine and worried that it might thwart his plans. And Dr. David thwart. The kid the kid's like 10 at best and he's saying thwart.
Might thwart our plans.
And Dr. David has lots of it in his office. I'll bet the asthma monster went there to destroy it. Straight to Main Street and turn left. Captain America, I'm having trouble breathing again. Sometimes when I get real excited or scared, I have an attack. Me too. The most important thing is to remain calm. I know a technique that might help. Just close your eyes and imagine that the wind blowing past you is blowing all your worries and excitement away till you're totally calm, and totally at peace. And the kids look at peace on their face with their eyes closed. Hey, it worked. I'm better already. How'd you know what to do? Why, I had asthma when I was young. And they both said at the same time, You
You did?
did? Sure. I learned then that if I could stop being scared during an attack, calm down, and take my asthma medicine as my doctor instructed me, not only would my asthma become more controllable, but I was able to think more clearly about other ways to help myself. It was a very important lesson to learn.
Although, in fairness, in the 1930s, late 1930s, asthma medicine was whiskey. So there's that.
It saved my life a number of times after I grew up, when I was battling evil villains. Being attacked by a condition like asthma or a supervillain like the asthma monster isn't so different. Either way, you've got to fight it calmly and bravely and not give up. And a cool head can make all the difference, especially since kids today have better medicines to control asthma than ever before. Wow. Hey, stop here. And I just want to point out in these two panels, uh, the Cap is going so freaking fast that the tires are both tires are off the street.
But he's
He is
calm.
he is flying.
Yeah, literally, right? But he's very calm.
This way, come on. And so the kids, beat him to the door, and they go inside. And what do they see, Bob?
Once again, it's the asthma monster, and he appears to have a man who is the guy we saw on the cover, and he's grasping him by the back of his suit coat. And this poor guy's on his knees, and the asthma monster's standing over him with his allergun at the ready.
Oh no, he's attacked Dr. David. The antidote. Tell me, where do you keep it? No, I'll never tell. Stop. So, the children have arrived and brought a strapping big hero to help. Good. You all can watch me destroy the antidote. Captain America, get him quick before he fades out again. Absurd, child. No one is fast enough to stop. Oof. Apparently, Captain America's fast enough to hit him in the solar plexus. You're fast, I'll give you that. But you'll need more than speed and strength to stop me. And he fires his allergun in Cap's face. But that doesn't stop Cap. No. Give it up, Captain America. It is only a matter of time before you too collapse. Cap's so brave, he's still fighting. But how can he fight if he can't breathe? We'll never stop him. My stomach, it feels so funny. I know. What are we going to do? Wait, my cough, your stomach, those are asthma signals. Remember what Cap said? It means we got to stay calm and think what to do. Hey, I got it. Me too. And they say at the both time, the inhalers.
Inhalers.
So they go into the medicine cabinet to get all the inhalers. They're in the cabinets. Great. Here, Ruth. One, two, three, now. And they both spray the asthma monster. What are you doing? I can't see. Mist covering my helmet's eye shields. And Cap hears helmet. Helmet? And he takes his shield and hits him in the head.
Wham!
You've cracked it. You've cracked my helmet. Oh, my magnificent work. My dastardly plans ruined by a couple of kids. Those darn kids.
Kids.
John. Dr. David, are you all right? Just hand me an inhaler and give one to Captain America. And Captain America takes the inhaler. Excellent. It's wonderful to breathe again, isn't it, Doctor? As for you, asthma monster, can't breathe. I bet it's all that junk he's been spraying around in the air. Gotta leave. Flip out. Come back later, destroy you all. Cap, he means it. He could do it. Stop him fast. And Cap gives him a right cross. Now, Bob, have you seen that before, that pose?
I'm sure I have.
Doesn't it look like the same pose on the cover of Captain America Comics #1?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little throwback, I think,
Yeah,
to the
that's
cover.
pretty cool. You're right. Yeah.
Is he okay? Don't worry, Ruth. I tapped him only hard enough to make him groggy and keep him from teleporting away. Dr. David, would you please call the police while we remove the teleportation device and tie him up? He's still having difficulty breathing, Captain. Give him an inhalant. Come on, fella. Do what Dr. David says. Take a breather of this medicine. Then I want you to tell us what that attack was all about. But he wouldn't take the inhaler, Bob. No, I won't. I won't take any. You can't make me. But why? I got asthma. Got it when I was a kid. They said, make the best of it. Like you did, Captain America. Like us. But I hated asthma. It made me feel sick, indifferent. But you could have helped yourself like we did. Taken your medicine and... No, I didn't want to. I didn't want to breathe like other people. I wanted them to be like me. So I planned, and I studied, and I became an inventor, and I made a sealed suit and wore it. It protected me from all my asthma triggers, let me breathe only pure air. But I still couldn't breathe normally, and I didn't want anyone else to be able to do it either. I planned to fix it so nobody in the world could breathe, only me inside my suit. But you took your medicine. You were ready for me. Later, and we see the police walking into the building as the kids are sitting outside of it. There go the cops. I can't believe we did it. Why not? I thought asthma meant I'd always be sick and different and not able to do so much. Gosh, was I wrong? When we turn to the last page, the stuff we learned from Captain America really helped. It even helped us be heroes. Yeah, when we take our medicine, we can do most things like other kids. I'm going to tell my mom and dad to stop babying me. And maybe they'll send you to asthma camp next year and... Oh, hi, Cap. Cap comes out of the building. I was just going to ask John here to be on the swim team. We can always use somebody tough and smart like him. Hey, there he goes. And the police officer taking away a cuffed asthma monster without his mask. And we'll make sure the asthma monster gets plenty of breathing room in jail. You can't escape me. I'll be back. And then Cap with the two kids putting their inhalers up in the air say at the same time, and
And
we'll
we'll
be
be ready
ready
for
for you.
you.
How fun was that?
That's a pretty good story. I gotta give Marvel credit. This was a good story, and it had some really important advice.
And I'm going to get, before we get to that, the very back cover. The back cover is a crossword puzzle, Bob.
It is, yes.
And the copy that I have, definitely someone used a pencil
Ah,
on it. So
thoughtful.
I can see someone wrote on mine in pencil. And there's a little head of Captain America, which by looking at it, I will tell you right now, that was probably done by Paul Neary and um, John Beatty. I definitely can see John Beatty in that. Perhaps maybe on top of Paul Neary's loose
Mm.
pencils. But in any case, it says, "Hello, kids. In the puzzle below, there are 28 words relating to asthma. See if you can find and circle each word. Most can be found in the comic. When you find a word that you don't understand, ask your parents or a doctor what it means. Remember, with the help of your parents and doctor, you can understand asthma and learn how to control it." And then what are the words, Bob?
Well, there's 28 of them, but it begins with allergen and antidote and asthma and attack and goes all the way down to symptom and smoke and triggers and weather and wheezing.
There you go. And how many of those do you have to look up, Bob?
Whoo! I'm saving this for a special occasion.
All right.
Maybe a long international flight.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Yeah, it was, I mean, listen, it was a story written for kids. And, but I think it was well written for kids, right? It showed kids being picked on. So instantly, if you have an empathetic bone in your body, you should probably look at that and go, "Well, that's not nice,"
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you maybe experience a little bit of empathy. And then the kid, you see, he goes off, and then he's upset, and you have a little empathy for him there. You're like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be picking on little Johnny in my classroom because I'm hurting his feelings, and I just thought it was funny, but whatever. And
Right.
then it turns out, because I'm trying to look at this perspective of I think this book was written, or this story was written for two different types of kids: kids with asthma
Mm-hmm.
and kids without asthma.
Okay.
Because I think it's good for kids with asthma. I think that's how we were thinking of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Like these kids are like, you know, I can't do anything. I have this sickness, but hey, look, you can be on the swim team. You can do this. You can do that as long as you take your medicine and you learn some tricks on how to,
Right.
control or feel when you feel it coming on. But I also think it was written for the kids who don't have asthma
Mm-hmm.
to understand maybe what it's like,
Yeah.
right? And have a little bit of sympathy, perhaps a little empathy, so you can understand that um, you know the other kids don't like talking about it because they don't want to be different.
Yeah.
And so this was, I think, also just as important for them.
Yeah, I'd be really curious. I'm sure those numbers, maybe they're out there someplace, but like how many of these were produced
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
distributed, right? Because it I mean, for the two things that you just said, the two audiences that you just said, this is a valuable PSA product, right? It's
Exactly.
providing a public service, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of important technical information in here, but also a lot of information about things that people can do if they're dealing with asthma, and some of the language is a little complex, right? I mean, the linings of your bronchial passages, that's not something that most kids at this age would run across.
Mm-hmm.
But it is written for a lot of different ages, a lot of different audiences. I think they did a really nice job with this.
I agree. All right, shall we get into favorite panel?
Sure, yeah.
I go first.
You do.
You went first last time. So I'm going to go with page 10. And I'm going to go with the second panel, where Cap is got the two little kids hanging on for dear life on the back of his motorcycle, and they're flying over the road. He's like jumping off, off a hill or something like that, right? I mean, they're
Yeah.
usually, 8 inches off the ground, and he's got
Right.
two little
Yeah.
kids hanging on with dear life, and he is, he and he's looking back, not in front of him,
Yeah.
uh, and the amount of exhaust that's coming out, I just think this panel is hysterical, and I that's my favorite panel.
That's a good panel. Yeah. I like that one.
How
Hmm.
about you?
Well, I'm going to go 2 pages earlier, page 8, and it's the bottom right panel. That's when they turn around and they see Cap's motorcycle in the back of
Mm-hmm.
the van. And I just, I love the motorcycle, Rick. I remember it was oh gosh, 87, about this time when I started fantasizing myself about getting a Harley Davidson
Oh,
motorcycle,
really?
something that, for years. I did have a Harley Davidson for a long time, but not the one I really wanted, which was sort of a late 80s FX ST Softail with the Evolution V twin engine. And that's what this looks like to me. It has all the sort of stylings with the way that seat is sculpted and that V twin engine, and it really reminds me of that. And what a great motorcycle that was. And to have it styled like this, man, that would have been the chef's kiss back in the late 80s
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go with this panel. It has great
I
sentimental value for me.
it was one of the ones I considered. So yep, good
Hmm.
job. And then what is going on a T-shirt for you, Bob?
Well, uh, I got to go with the last panel of the book.
Damn it! Seriously?
Yeah, I know that was. See, right there was a last minute pull because I had a completely different panel.
What was the other one you had?
It was on page 3, the lower left panel,
Hmm.
which is sort of a more not quite as happy, but it's the I might as well forget being a hero now. I'll just lie around for the rest of my life doing nothing.
uh, but instead, you're picking the, and we'll be ready for you.
Yeah, really diametrically opposed.
Oh man, that is ah. That I mean, it is. It was such a good panel to have at the very end. It would be cool to have on a T-shirt,
It
but
would, it would,
yeah,
even with the inhalers, because that a lot of people be like, "What the heck is that all about?"
yeah. Uh, I guess I'll put on the T-shirt the cover, um, just so that I can walk around at a comic book convention and have that one person who recognizes the comic go,
Yeah,
I had that as a kid,
yeah, right.
and it'd be like,
And you'd be like, asthma or the comic,
you're right.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's a cool cover. I do like that cover. I think it's comic booky, but that's what you want.
indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
How about a T-shirt? I'm sorry. What about your time capsule, Rick? Lots to
Uh,
pick from in this issue.
I don't know. I mean, I could go for the low hanging fruit.
Okay, you should do that then. Often the
um,
ripest.
yeah. I'm not understanding my notes. I I have in here page 9, panel 1, and now I'm looking at. I'm like, I don't understand why I picked that one for my time capsule.
Huh.
Because it's the two kids riding on the back of the motorcycle. Um,
Yeah, that's right. That wouldn't be allowed these days. He'd get pulled over most rickety,
yeah, yeah,
rickety
yeah,
tickety
yeah,
tabby there.
yeah, 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 yeah. Cap would totally get in trouble for that.
Well, at least they're wearing helmets. That was ahead of his time.
That's true. That's true. Um, yeah, it was either that or the payphone. But what about you? What's going in your time
Well,
capsule?
I'm going to go. It's the same panel as the payphones, but it's the third panel on page 7 where the young lady says, "Go outside and try to find a police officer," and that strikes me as really that's that's a time that has long gone, because now just about, I think almost every school has embedded police officers in the school, police resource officers. But back then, like, we didn't have that, right? Like, if something happened, like, you had to dial 911 or run outside and try to flag down a police officer driving by.
Mhm.
So this definitely is a callback to an earlier, perhaps even more innocent time.
That's a good point, Bob. It's interesting. I did look up like 911. Like could the kids have just dialed 911?
Oh,
Just
right. Yeah.
yeah. And the I think the first time that 911 was available was in the late 60s,
Uh-huh.
and then early 70s, the White House encouraged a nationwide adoption of 911. According to this internet, I I don't know if it's accurate, but I'm looking it up underneath the National Emergency Number Association.
Uh-huh.
So you figure they would have some, you know, like accurate details there. But take a wild guess. If 1973 they the White House had suggested that there was a nationwide adoption of 911, what year do you think the Public Safety Act officially established 911 as the nation's emergency calling number?
Gosh. Was it under the senior Bush, maybe?
1999,
1999. So,
right?
wow.
Like
Yeah,
we've only had a nationwide 911 for the last 26 years. That doesn't make sense to me.
it doesn't. It's funny how you think like things have been around forever, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh no, this is. You look back on things and they're like, wow, it's a relatively new development.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, why did it take them 20 some like 25 plus years to from when the White House said we should make this for everybody?
right, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody should have this.
All right, Bob. Well, that was fun, and I'm glad we brought some light to asthma in the Asthma Awareness Month. And Bob, this must have gone over really, really well because 2 years later, in 1989, they did the return of the Asthma Munster.
Fixed his helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe next May, Bob,
yeah.
as we celebrate Asthma Awareness Month in 2026, maybe we'll have to do the return of the Asthma Munster.
That's it. I think we should do that. I think, while we're at it, we should. I'm sure there's probably one on gonorrhea. We should probably figure out what month that is.
Cap meets the gonorrhea monster.
It's a World War II story. I know you like those. So,
Except they don't use the word meat.
fair
uh,
enough. Yeah.
all right. And then next episode, come back because we have, Thunderbolts, Bob. Thunderbolts was a movie that came out. As you know, we covered the live review. So we figured we touch on a recent Thunderbolt comic. So come back next episode. We're going to do Thunderbolts Doomstrike #1, which came out this year in
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
And we will cover that panel by panel.
I haven't read it yet, but I have picked it up and I am looking forward to it.
I haven't read it either, Bob. I'm looking forward to that next episode. And in the meantime, if you don't mind, listeners, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. And if you are on YouTube right now, give us a thumbs up. We love your comments, so we do read those and react to those. So please leave those wherever you listen. And of course, on the Facebook page. And as always, we thank you for listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.